Welcome, it's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. Glad you're still with us. Our guest is Gary DeLong. Gary is a member of the Long Beach City Council, also a candidate for the United States Congress. Sir, thank you for joining us. As you know, throughout this recession, we can call it, and downturn in the economy, we have seen crime go down. Counterintuitive, but it has. In Long Beach, though, recently we learned that Part 1 crimes have increased. Many municipalities are not saying that, but Long Beach is. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to join you again. We're taking a close look at it. Crime has been down to record lows in Long Beach. Type 1 crime, as you mentioned, it's made up of several categories. I can tell you from the violent crime, we're continuing to do very well. We have fewer murders, fewer rapes, etc. But property crimes are definitely up.
And that, in a way, is not surprising, given that in desperate times, people take desperate measures.
Exactly. But
at the same time, as we see this crime rate ticking up, we are also seeing the size of the Long Beach Police Department drop. It's down 15% since 2009. So what I'm wondering, sir, is crime ticking up because of the economy, although some would argue it's getting better, or because we have fewer officers on the street?
Or a combination of the two. But certainly the economy is related to it. There's no doubt. And you can't put a cop on every corner, so we're not going to be able to prevent a lot of those crimes. But we are concerned that we may get to a point where we have too few officers on the street, and we're taking a close look at that right now.
And as it stands now, we are seeing about 30 to 40 officers retire, move departments, whatever it may be. If we keep seeing attrition without replacements, one could argue we're going to get to dangerously low levels.
That's right. The good news is, as you mentioned, we've attrited 30 to 4 officers a year. That's helped our budget greatly as we've had declining revenues. We have not had to lay off a single officer. But yes, now we're to the point where we may be attriting too much. So I do think that we'll get a police academy going. My best guess is in 2013.
Okay, let's talk about that. We haven't seen a police academy in how many years?
It's been at least several.
Okay, so there is discussion in the city council to open up a police academy. What does that mean exactly?
Well, there's two things. There's the capital cost. It's about $2.5 million, and that we can afford. So we could run a police academy tomorrow. We could get that done. In fact, we've actually had it in this year's budget for a period of time. The problem is making sure once we train those officers and we add them to the force that we have the long-term revenue to be able to afford to keep those officers, because you don't want to train them and then let them go.
So in terms of revenue, what we have seen in many cities, including Long Beach, we've seen budget deficits.
Correct.
And as I understand it, another budget deficit is around the corner for Long Beach.
Yes, it is.
And as we know, police departments are significant portions of any city's budget.
Yes.
And so if there's a budget deficit, that means more cuts for the LBPD.
Well, you're absolutely right. Our general fund has gone from about $400 million to $380 million. Meanwhile, our cost of labor has increased, right? We pay people more. The pension costs went up dramatically. Police department's about 49% of the general fund. So next year, they're probably going to take a $6 to $7 million hit again.
But then that begs the question. I mean, if you want to open a police academy, you got to hire more officers once they graduate. But if you don't have the money to pay them.
That's true, but on the other hand, if you're going to attrit 30 officers next year, maybe you can afford to run an academy and train 15, for example.
I want to talk about another issue that some believe is affiliated with crime, and that's medical marijuana clinics. While studies are mixed as to whether those clinics attract crime, we also know that Long Beach has been right at the epicenter of the debate over medical marijuana clinics. Court decisions coming out of Long Beach, Riverside, going to the Supreme Court. But it seems as if the city council is just kind of pushing off the issue of whether an attempt should be made to ban the clinics in city limits. What can you tell us?
Here's what I can tell you. It's been a 2-year debate. So my executive
Just 2?
Yes. My executive summary is the council took a position that said if we can regulate them, we don't mind having a handful of medical marijuana dispensaries in the city of Long Beach. However, with the PAC decision rendered by the courts that said you can't regulate an illegal substance, I believe the city council is going to move forward. It's going to ban them.
Although we can wait to hear what the California Supreme Court says, because that could change the landscape completely.
It could, but it could also be a year away, and we need to do something.
He's Gary DeLong, member of the Long Beach City Council. I'm Brad Pomerantz. Back to HLN.
I'm Henry Waxman. I'm a congressman in Los Angeles. What do I find interesting to watch on TV? Charter California Edition.
Learn more about your elected officials, educators, and community leaders by watching Charter California editions on Channel 101, Charter's original programming channel, and Channel 177, the California channel. Tune into both channels to watch the half-hour Charter California editions for more in-depth interviews.